I'm Reverend Sarah Oglesby Dunnigan, the settled minister here. My pronouns are she, her. And I want to extend a warm welcome to everyone, whether you are new to us or a familiar face. We hope today you'll stay after service when those of us maybe on Zoom will also stay to talk with one another. If you're new, you can gather in a welcome circle over in the back. And the rest of us here in person, we invite you to stay and enjoy coffee and snacks. If you are new to us, like I said, you can join us in a brief welcome circle. And if we have anyone new or visiting today, we hope you'll give us your email at our welcome table in the back so we can send you information about this community and the many opportunities to engage with us throughout the week. Folks here love to meet new people and answer your questions about this community. We're a little different. So if you're someone who's willing to answer those questions, a member here, would you either stand or wave your hand to let new people know you're willing to answer questions or be helpful? So if you're new, look around and see somebody that might look like a friendly face, and maybe that's someone you can talk to after service. If you're new and you're willing to stand or raise your hand and let us know who to look for to welcome and answer questions for, won't you stand or wave now? Welcome. And also, let's extend a greeting to our online participants, one of whom you've already seen as our worship associate, Melissa, who is also a pastoral care person today. So let's all wave to the Zoomers as they are currently waving back to us. And the camera's actually over there to catch you, so excellent. This Sunday, November 6th, pastoral care will be provided by Carl Anderson, who is up here next to me. He will meet anyone who'd like to just chat, or if there's something weighing on you. Today is a day when we invoke some things that touch grief in our hearts, so if there's something you want to chat about, Carl is here in person to meet with you and can step into our very sweet little room back here to have a conversation or whatever's comfortable for you. He's also available during the week with Melissa Bush, who's on Zoom. And those two will be doing pastoral care this week for folks who just may need a little extra support. Today we're beginning an exploration of a ritual of remembrance that allows us to grieve together and share the gifts that we've received from people we love who have died, to pay attention together. If you've come with a memento for the altar and you haven't already put it there, we're happy to, in a moment when we go through the ritual, you'll be invited to add to that. If you didn't bring one and you want to remember someone, we do have some blue forms you can fill out that you can put the person's name and a little remembrance about them. Nick will, if you didn't get one, when we go through that moment, you can raise your hand and Nick will come get one to you. Or you can slip back there to him and get one sometime during the service. We're grateful to each of you for your presence. I believe that being together as a gathered community once a week is a practice that deepens our ability to respond to the world around us differently, with more humility and compassion and clarity. So let us practice together building the world we hope to live in. Blessed be.
Please stand in body or spirit and sing with us. It's number 1051, We Are.
Hello, my name is Skylar Barnes. I use they, them pronouns, and I am the Faith Formation Assistant here at Valley UU. Now is the time for anybody at home to bring your children in front of the screens and any children in the service to come sit up front. So today, Sarah and some of the people in the service are going to talk about remembrance, which are our memories of people. And there are many things in life that can bring you memories. Maybe it's the smell of coffee in the morning or a special toy you've had for a long time. Many memories connect us to the people and the places that we love. And in this story, whenever this young little boy gets homesick, he knows that he can take comfort in the branches and the memories that his tree, Plummy, gives him. My Tree, written by Hope Lim and illustrated by Il Sun Na. In the backyard of our new home stood an old tree, tall, crooked, quiet. It reminded me of the persimmon tree that shaded our porch in Korea. Deep purple plums dotted every branch, so I named her Plummy. I watered her, climbed on her, and found the perfect spot to hide and spy until everyone wondered where I was. I spent my first day in America with Plummy, and she became my tree. Whenever I missed my home in Korea, Plummy lifted me up, and I played on her branches. In the spring, I celebrated my birthday under her blooming white flowers. In the summer, I watched the sky through her thick green leaves. In the fall, I picked purple plums and shared them with neighbors. And in the winter, I listened to the wind whistle through her dark brown branches. Plummy made me feel at home. One spring night, a rainstorm with high winds swept through the city and knocked down many trees, old and new. Plummy fell down that night. The next morning, I saw Plummy laying in the middle of the yard, away from the house, away from the deck, and away from the fence. Her roots were pulled out of the earth, worn out and sad. An old tree knows how to lie down when it's time, my grandma told me in Korea. I climbed on Plummy and stood on her. How immense she looked under my feet. For days, she turned into everything I wished for: a tree house, a rocket, an island, a ship. Neighbor kids joined in, and we all had fun. Until a little boy scraped his arm and cried, and then it was time for Plummy to go. The next day, Plummy was hauled away. Without Plummy, everything felt different. No more white flowers, no more green shade, no more purple plums or whistling wind, and no more secret hiding place. In the middle of the yard, I stood alone, remembering Plummy, tall, crooked, quiet. Daddy, I miss Plummy. Daddy nodded and squeezed my hand. A few days later, we planted a new plum tree, short and straight, in Plummy's old place. I watered her and patted her down in the soil, and I wonder if she ever knew an old tree once stood where her roots are spreading. I watered her more, and she grew little by little. Then one day, I saw something familiar. The new tree had her first blossoms. Fresh white flowers dotted every branch and fluttered in the breeze. The new tree was short and straight, but donned in milky petals, she stood quiet, like Plummy. "Hello," I whispered. In the backyard of our home stands a young plum tree. I water her and watch her grow tall and strong, and I feel right at home. So during the service today, the adults are going to place some things on this altar. But right now, if you guys have a memory that you want to remember, a person or a place, Sarah's going to walk around with the pebbles, and you guys can take one and place it on the altar as a memory for whatever you want to remember.
Let's take a deep breath together. As we prepare our hearts and minds for remembering those that we have lost and to be present to one another, I invite you into just a short meditation. First, I invite you to consider yourself, to reach to yourself with love and gentleness and curiosity and generosity. What would it look like to be generous with yourself? To be gentle and compassionate with all of yourself. Offer yourself reassurance and love. Picture the kindness that you can give yourself. Next, I invite you to consider your family or those that you're close to. What does it look and feel like to be gentle and generous with them? To be compassionate and offer reassurance to those that you live with and grow with, work with, and play with every day. Picture yourself reaching out from the loving and kind place. Hear the voice that you will use. See the actions that you might take. Now picture the broader community around you, some of which is made up of people you know, at least a little, and many of which you don't know. Some are people that you hold dear, and some you may struggle to understand and connect with, and some you just may not know anything about. What would it look like to be gentle and compassionate with each member of this wider community? What does it look and feel like to be generous in this larger community?
Please stay seated, but sing with us our meditation hymn, Comfort Me.
Comfort me, comfort me, comfort me, oh my soul. Comfort me, comfort me, comfort me, oh my soul. Sing with me, sing with me, sing with me, oh my soul. Sing with me, sing with me, sing with me, oh my soul. Speak for me, speak for me, speak for me, oh my soul. Speak for me, speak for me, speak for me, oh my soul. Dance with me, dance with me, dance with me, oh my soul. Dance with me, dance with me, dance with me, oh my soul. Comfort me, comfort
They once dwelt among us, the people of memory.
They who knew us, they who taught us, those who heard us, those who loved us.
They touch our lives time and again through their presence and their absence.
Through familiar scents and favorite songs, through old stories and renewed sorrow.
As the earth turns and leaves fall, we reach back to renew the bonds between us.
With hearts open, hands open, we hold on to love ever stronger than death.
We reach back in gratitude and understanding without our time together. The pain and the joy.
We would never be who we are today. We would have little to pass on ourselves.
Without fear, with thanksgiving, and with hope for all that awaits.
We remember those who have gone before. We honor the circle of life and death and our place within this sacred thread.
Comfort me, comfort me, comfort me, oh my soul. Comfort me, comfort me, comfort me, oh my soul.
We enter now into our own time of remembrance. It may be a time for you of revisiting grief. That's okay to do here. It may be a time of revisiting cherished memories. That's also okay to do here. Today, everyone is invited to come forward and leave something on the altar in remembrance of someone they loved who has left this earth, who has died. If you brought a memento, you may leave it on the altar. If you need to make a quick one, you can do that. And if you need one, just put your hand up, and Nick will make his way around to you. You can place a flower on the altar, so there's some flowers and stones also over here. So any kind of memento that you would like to leave with or without a name, you can place it there. I also invite you during this time, if you would like to light a candle in our space for lighting candles, to add water to the fountain, or to move a stone over here. Any ritual you'd like to engage during this time of remembrance is welcome as you see fit. In a moment, we'll have some slides as well of folks that are being remembered. Folks who are with us online, I invite you, if you'd like, to add into the chat the name of someone or folks that you are remembering, and to say a little bit about them for folks that are with you online. Carl's going to add a couple of flowers and stones for those of you online who are not in the room with us for all the remembrances you have shared online. Thank you.
Comfort me, comfort me, comfort me, oh my soul. Comfort me, comfort me, comfort me, oh my soul.
These words are from Kathleen McTee. In the struggles we choose for ourselves, in the ways we move forward in our lives and bring our world forward with us, it is right to remember the names of those who gave us strength in this choice of living. It is right to name the power of hard lives well lived. We share a history with those lives. We belong to the same motion. They too were strengthened by what had gone before. They too were drawn on by the vision of what might come to be. Those who lived before us, who struggled for justice and suffered injustice before us, they have not melted into the dust. They have not disappeared. They are with us still. The lives, they hold us steady. Their words remind us and call us back to ourselves. Their courage and love evoke our own. We, the living, carry them with us. We are their voices, their hands, and their hearts. We take them with us, and with them, we choose the deeper path of living.
Comfort me, comfort me, comfort me, oh my soul. Comfort me, comfort me, comfort me, oh my soul.
Good morning. My name is Lynn Demuth. I am a member of Voices Lifted, some of whom are singing with us today. We sing in small groups at bedside for those on the threshold of life and death. And here is my story. The movie The Sound of Music was released in the spring of 1965. I was not quite 2 years old. My family attended the movie, and Mom held me while I slept through most of it. Something sank in, though, because family legend has it that I would toddle into the front yard in my diaper and shirt, or maybe no shirt, throw my hands in the air and sing, "The hills are alive." In fact, I still have the soundtrack on LP. You can see it's been well loved. Among the many gifts that my mom gave to me was one of the most important, music. Her parents were musicians. My grandmother played piano, my grandfather played violin. And Mom sang and played piano. She drove me to piano lessons and encouraged me to join choirs and singing groups at an early age. When she moved into assisted living late last year, after a series of strokes, some of our best days visiting were spent with music. I played piano for her. She hummed familiar tunes. She told stories about the music and shared memories of her parents playing. She entered hospice in late February of this year as her body began to fail. Her end came quickly and took far too long. Her children gathered around. We thanked her for being our mom, for everything she had done. We told her we would be okay and that she had done everything she needed to do. We told her we loved her. I read her Winnie the Pooh and the 23rd Psalm. When the words stuck in my throat, what else was there to do but sing? Easy, rest easy, let every trouble drift away. When I could no longer sing, I hummed. I held her hand and rubbed her forehead. A hospice professional will tell you that at the end of life, hearing remains after all the other senses have failed. I trust that Mom could hear our last words to her and the music. My experience with Voices Lifted, singing to families and those on the threshold between life and death, confirms for me the power and indeed the magic of music. I have heard people who are in their last days sing with us. I have seen families weep happy tears for a brief respite from the heaviness of their grief. Grief and mourning are inevitable. They demonstrate the love we feel for the one who has died. But hold on to that love and remember, as Alexander McCall Smith wrote in his book, The Good Pilot, Peter Woodhouse, that you can go on loving people a long time after they have left you. Love lasts. Love grows stronger. Love lasts a lifetime and beyond. Easy, rest easy, love enfolds you and holds you safe. Comfort me, comfort me, comfort me, oh my soul. Comfort me, comfort me, comfort me, oh my soul.
Good morning. I'm Mary Rothschild, a member of Voices Lifted, VUU's women's volunteer choir that sings a cappella at bedside and is part of the hospice movement. In addition to singing regularly for Hospice of the Valley in 2 of their houses, we also sing sometimes in nursing and group homes, and often at bedside of VUU members or their family members who are ill, recovering from surgery, for instance, or as well as members who could benefit from the comfort of music for whatever reason. We always start our singing at bedside with the chorus of Honey in the Rock, and we almost always end with We Are Sending You Light. But in between, we sing a really varied group of songs, some simple threshold choir songs, and we're what's called a threshold choir, a few hymns like In the Garden or Amazing Grace, camp songs, country songs, oldies, and we even sang Take Me Out to the Ball Game for a Diamondbacks fan who was drifting in and out of consciousness and who died later that day. His family, who requested it, said they knew it made him happy. Our singing is music ministry, heart and center. We practice singing with intention to the people and their families, really holding them looking at them, holding them in our eyes, our minds, and our hearts. We sing simple harmonies when we can, and we're always game to take a request and try, if we have any idea at all, how to sing the song requested. It's hard to explain how much I have learned and grown from singing for Voices Lifted. It's a privilege to be with hospice patients and their families, and I almost always gain way more than I give. When we come to a room, we ask if the person would like us to sing, and not everyone does, which is fine, and we move on to the next room. Sometimes there is little to no response, but more often there is heartfelt gratitude. To see the delight in people's eyes to hear a hymn they love, to watch a person's breathing change who is unconscious because they are hearing songs they know, and hearing is the last sense to leave the body, as Lynn said. To see a person who is anxious become calm by hearing a song dear to them, to see the tears of family members because their loved ones are responding to the singing, it's an absolute pleasure, a gift clearly given, but even more received by us. When we were just beginning, one of our very first forays out to sing in the community was a large family-style group home, and about 20 patients were brought into a large living room. It was in Mesa, most of them walking out on their own, but some in wheelchairs. The last person the nurses wheeled in was a woman who was completely bent over like a ball, her face almost in her lap. As it was December, we began singing Christmas carols, and her head started to lift a little. She was in front of me, and I watched with amazement as she started sitting up straighter and straighter and straighter to a normal sitting position. And she was singing every word of every carol with us. It was an astonishing transformation. She had come alive. What was even more amazing is that when we were done, one of the nurses told us that this woman had not spoken one word to anyone in over 6 months. It turns out singing develops different neural pathways than speech, and that our singing had lifted her, however briefly, out of her dementia and back into the world. I will never forget that experience, though versions of it have happened often enough since that I'm no longer surprised, but I'm always delighted. Sometimes when I tell people I sing in a hospice choir, they say, "That must be so depressing. How can you stand it?" And I say to them, it has given me so much joy. It has given me so much knowledge about death and dying. It has been such an honor to minister through singing that I can't imagine my life without it. Voices Lifted has given me far more than I have given it, and I will continue singing as long as I can.
This remembering of lives originates from a couple of similar traditions. Of course, the Catholic All Saints' Day, which was created to counter pagan rituals, kind of like what we did last week, that were held on the graves of important ancestors and community personalities. And it was also created to celebrate the lives of honored Christian leaders recognized by the church as saints. And then later, another version called All Souls' Day, and in Latin America, it is also known as Day of the Dead or Dia de los Muertos. It's related to the Celtic pagan tradition of Samhain, which we did celebrate last week, which celebrates the dead and welcomes the beginning of winter. And of course, as we said last week, Halloween has become our secular version of these three holidays. But Unitarian Universalists celebrate Day of Remembrance as a way to honor those who have died but left an indelible mark on our lives. And this gives us a chance to think about how we cope with loss and death, to offer our hearts a place for healing, and to prepare ourselves for future losses by practicing a ritual that holds us in community and lets us grieve as we need to. Today, I have led us into a closer look at the dying process and at the gifts that we may receive and give during these precious times of leave-taking. As a hospital chaplain for 5 months, serving a cardiac unit, where most of my patients were between 60 and 90 years of age, I was introduced to the dying process and to the needs of families and friends facing loss and change, beginning with changes in mobility and cognition for those suffering serious illnesses, and moving through death and into a time of mourning. One of the greatest gifts that I have witnessed came from the courageous presence and attention of some family members and friends who were able to tune into the needs of their loved ones and to respond. This, by the way, is a very countercultural approach for many. Talking about death and the dying process, loss and suffering that's associated with all of these just isn't valued much in our culture. As a chaplain in the Centura system, part of my job was to help people complete advance directives, collect copies of living wills for health files, and help people understand organ and tissue donation. It may sound weird, but the conversations I had with patients and their families around end-of-life planning were some of the most life-giving and healing conversations some families had had in a long time. Sometimes it's just hard to be the one to start the conversation. Many families were grateful when a family member had clearly put in writing what they wanted to have happen and what they valued. It made them more able to focus on the relationship they had with their family member, less worried about making the right decision for someone else. Being clear about who had medical power of attorney in an emergency helped prevent other family members from being in conflict. And the truth is, for many families, grieving calls up complex emotions and family histories that can sometimes be volatile. Fewer things to ignite emotions that are already running high can be a true blessing. So it might sound weird to plan a family night where you talk about things like this, but I want to invite you to do this if you haven't already. I find that many people under 40 haven't done this, and many people over 60 had their first conversation about this when they were first hospitalized. And I'll tell you what, it's an easier conversation to have when it's less urgent, and better to know if you have different ideas and desires ahead of a life-changing event. So today, I invite you to consider filling out, I don't have them with me today, but I'll bring them next week, and I'll send them out by email, the life crisis form that we have that tells VUU what some of your wishes are. I also included in the last week's happenings, and we'll do so again, some links to fill out a medical power of attorney and to begin end-of-life planning. There are many ways that your congregational home may be supportive of you during your lifetime. I hope that today you've gotten a sense of our commitment to being with you through some of the difficult times you may face in your life, through grieving and loss and end-of-life processes that can also be beautiful and grounding, just as Mary described. And Lynn. Grief is something that we carry in our bodies, something that is sometimes slumbering. When a new loss visits us, it often wakes the sleeping grief, the losses that have come before. The longer you live, the more you know this is so. I invite you to consider these words as we remember those that we've lost, and also prepare for our own eventual death. When there's a fresh wound in your heart, keep it open until it heals. Air it out. Understand it. Dive into it. Be fierce enough to become it. If you ignore it, it won't be able to breathe. If you ignore it, it will merely deepen, spread, and resurface later, wanting to release. And when later happens, it will hurt even more, because when later happens, you won't know what you're bleeding for. Remain with it until it clears, and watch the beauty pour into your openness. Remain open to feel lightness. Remain open to feel free. Take a moment to just sit. We invite you to take a moment to pass the offering basket. You may do this lots of ways, physically here in the building if there's something you want to put in the plate. We encourage and are grateful for your generosity, but of course you can always do this through texting or giving online or mailing something into us. But I also just want to hold up the many other ways we're generous with each other. Generous in caring for each other, showing up in the many different ways that we show up for each other, with our voices, with our bodies, with meals, with help, all of those ways we are grateful for.
I am sending you light to heal you, to hold you. I am sending you light to hold you in love. I am sending you light to heal you, to hold you. I am sending you light to hold you in love. Please join us. I am sending you light to heal you, to hold you. I am sending you light to hold you in love. I am sending you light to heal you, to hold you. I am sending you light to hold you in love.
Let It Go by Dana Folds. Let go of the ways you thought life would unfold, the holding of plans or dreams or expectations. Let it all go. Save your strength to swim with the tide. The choice to fight what here before you now will only result in struggle, fear, and desperate attempts to flee from the very energy you long for. Let go. Let it all go and flow with the grace that washes through your days, whether you received it gently or with all your quills raised to defend against invaders. Take this on faith. The mind may never find the explanations that it seeks, but you will move forward nonetheless. Let go, and the wave's crest will carry you to unknown shores, beyond your wildest dreams or destinations. Let it all go and find the place of rest and peace and certain transformation.
Please rise in body or spirit and sing with us, Come Sing a Song with Me.
Come sing a song with me. Come sing a song with me. Come sing a song with me, that I might know your mind. And I'll bring you hope when hope is hard to find. And I'll bring a song of love and a rose in the winter time. Come dream a dream with me. Come dream a dream with me. that I might know your mind. And I'll bring you hope when hope is hard to find. And I'll bring a song of love and rose in the winter time. Come walk in rain with me. Come walk in rain with me. Come walk in rain with me, that I might know your mind. And I'll bring you hope when hope is hard to find. And I'll bring a song of love and a rose in the winter time. Come share a rose with me. Come share a rose with me. Come share a rose with me, that I might know your mind. And I'll bring you hope when hope is hard to find. And I'll bring a song of love and a rose in the winter time.
Won't you join our online person?
Though we extinguish the chalice, our connection to each other and this community remains. May its light guide us this week as we walk the path of justice, speak words of love, and fill our world with compassion until we meet again.
We are all just walking each other home. 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 We are all just walking each other home.
I hope that as we finish this afternoon together, if you're new, you'll join us in the welcome circle or stay for coffee and conversation. And those of you online will also stay for conversation as we walk each other through this life together until we walk each other home. Blessed be.
There's honey in the rock for all God's children. Honey in the rock, honey in the rock. There's honey in the rock for all God's children. Feed every child of God. There's honey in the rock for all God's children. Honey in the rock, honey in the rock. There's honey in the rock for all God's children. Feed every child of God. There's honey in the rock for all God's children. Honey in the rock, honey there's honey in the rock for all God's children. Feed every child.